Good morning, student. Namaskar, Sat Sri Akal, Suprabhat. I welcome you all in our income tax class, basic concept session 3. In today's session, we will be discussing the provisions of rates of tax, in which we have discussed the basic rate structure. But today we will be discussing the surcharge provision, rebate concepts, and agricultural income theoretical as well as the numerical provision. And of course, MCQ questions we are going to discuss, illustration of study material. There would be a thought for the day, a small story for all of you. And I welcome you all again. And I believe you must be studying very hard to achieve the goal of your life to become a chartered accountant, to be the part of our fraternity as soon as possible. So let me see if there is any query, etc. Okay, no query yet. So today's Mr. Kuldeep want to ask something. Kuldeep, please send your query in the chat box, or you can send your query on the query portal also. Before starting the class, the thought for the day, it's a very interesting and very beautiful thought. And when I was doing CA, I have read this quotation somewhere. And from that day, this is one of my favorite quotation. And it says, there is no future in any job, but the future lies in the man or person who technically holds the job. So all jobs are, of course, important, but the person who actually holds that job, that really matters. You can see there must be a doctor who is earning 1 lakh rupees per month, and there is also a doctor who is earning 10 lakh rupees per month, and there must be a doctor who is earning 1 crore rupees in a month. So they all have the same degree, but how you utilize your talent, how you explore the opportunities, that really matters. So there is no future in any job technically, but the future lies in the person who holds that job. So that was the quotation for the day for all of you. Okay, Pooja is saying good morning. Kuldeep is saying, sir, my query, it was into chat, was not enabled. Okay, now it has been enabled. Kuldeep. Nitin, good morning. I believe you must have done the homework I have given to you. We will discuss that also. Kushnur, good morning. Meenu, good morning. Linga, good morning. Shamli, good morning. Mujahid, good morning. A very good morning to all of you once again. So I am starting a small MCQs question session. So that would be for your revisions, and that would show that how much preparation you have done in the last 2 or 3 sessions. So here is question number 1. You can see, which entry and article of the Constitution of India given the power to the Parliament to make the law on income tax? So you have to answer this question. There are MCQ. You can send your answer in the chat box and kindly write down the question number and the option. So please write like question 1 dash your option. So I believe you must have gone through with these provision. So which entry and article of the Constitution of India given the power to the Parliament to make the law on income tax? Waiting for your answers, students. Okay, Linga is saying C. Mujahid is saying C. Kuldeep is saying C. Neeraj is saying B. Okay. Meenu is saying C. Adil saying C. Prerna also saying C. Well done. Shamli is saying entry number 82, article 246. So in MCQs, you have to write down the option only, Shamli. Okay. Kushnur is saying C. Very nice. Pooja is saying C. The correct answer is, of course, C. Only one student has given the answer B. Everyone else has given the correct answer. Very well done. Good to see that. Santosh, good morning. Okay. Hina is saying A. No, Hina, it's wrong. Pranav is also saying A, wrong. Prajapati is saying C, correct. Shalini is saying C. Nithil is saying C. Achitya is saying C. Well done. Prakruti is saying C. Shreen C. Dhanlakshmi C. Chandana C. Well done. Abhijit is also saying C. Manisha is saying C. Saipa is saying good morning and C. Very well done. Thyasumi is saying C. So almost all answers are correct except two or three. Somebody was saying B and the two students was giving the answer A. So you can correct your answer, the students. Now MCQ number 2, these are very simple question because all are theoretical based. We are going to discuss 10 MCQs right now, which is on theoretical basis, and then we will move on to our numerical MCQs after completing the surcharge provision and the rebate concept from the notes. Question number 2. Which list give power to both state and parliament? So we have gone through with some list. There was a union list, there was state list, and there was concurrent list. So which list give the power to both state and parliament? So let me tell you, these are very simple MCQ. This is just to make you understand, or to I am just trying to understand that whether you are going through with the provision or not. I believe you all are studying very, very hard. So the correct answer is, of course, option number C, concurrent list. Prakriti is saying C, of course. The correct answer is C, and I believe all of you must have given the correct answer. Nityal is saying C, Manisha is saying C, Shalini is saying C, Abhijit is saying C. Well done, everyone. Moving on to the next question. Who is empowered to make rules for carrying out the purpose of the act? So who is the empowered authority to make rules for carrying out the purpose of the act? That also we have discussed. So what should be the correct answer of it? Okay, who's Shalini is saying B. Nitin is saying B. Prajapati is saying B. Well done. Pranav is saying B. The correct answer is, of course, B. Central Board of Direct Taxes. Tiwari Radhishyam is saying B. Mustafa is saying B. Well done. Theosami is saying again B. Pawan is saying D. Again, I have asked you all, please write down the question number. Now, Pawan has given the answer C and D. Now, I don't know which MCQ you are answering, Pawan. So, please write it down 1 and then C. Yeah, whatever question you are giving the answer. Then Lakshmi is saying CBDT, correct. Manisha is saying B. Well done. Shreen Ahmed is saying B. Correct. Absolutely correct. Santosh is saying B. Again, please write it down the question number. Linga is saying B. Mujahid is saying B. Well done. So moving on to the next one. Mr. Sudeep let out his building to Mr. Vinal for 2 lakh rupees per annum. Mr. Sudeep deposits such 2 lakh in his bank account and also earn bank interest rupees 15,000. In which head rupees 2 lakh and 15,000 will fall? So Mr. Sudeep is earning two kinds of income. One is rupees 2 lakh rupees as the rental income of a building and 15,000 as a bank interest. So you have to tell me these income will fall in option A is correct, B is correct, C is correct, or D is correct. Navneet is saying correct answer is D. Navneet is saying income from house property and income from other sources. Very good. Good morning, Navneet. Avinash is saying B. I don't know which question answer is B, Avinash. Anil is saying D. Well done. Kuldeep is saying D. Very nice. Neeraj is saying D. Well done. Meenu, okay, not gave the answer yet. Adil is saying D. Well done. Rahul is giving the answer on query portal. Yes, Rahul, correct. Option number D is the correct answer of point number 4. Prerna, correct. D. Basama is saying B. No, B is not the correct answer. Let me tell you, 2 lakh rupees is income from building rent. So that would fall under income from house property. And 15,000 is income from interest. And interest income fall under income from other sources. Rihaya Karkera is saying D. Well done. Correct answer. Absolutely. Pooja is saying D. Shamli is saying D. Iswarya is saying D. Kushnur, correct the answer. Divya is D. Achitya is saying D. Well done. So the correct answer is, of course, D. It's really good to see that you all are participating in MCQ and giving almost all MCQ's answer is correct till now by majority of student. And I should say at least 99% answers are correct. Question number 5, which is not included in the definition of person. Is not included in the definition of person. And the correct answer is option number D. Everybody has been included in the definition of person. Nobody can escape it. Individual, robot, AOP, everything. So robot would fall under AJP. So if there is an unnatural person, that is going to be also taxed as artificial judicial person. D is the correct answer. Absolutely right, Shalini. Prajapati, correct answer D. Prakriti, okay. C is said by Syed Hussain. No, the correct answer would be D. So, if there is any unnatural person having a legal entity in the eyes of the law, that will fall under artificial judicial person. Harivansh. Next is, we have to complete this MCQ topic because they're easy questions. So we just wanted to complete it as soon as possible because we have to complete the other part also. Which of the following statement is true? Now, this is a tricky question. So please read it carefully and let me know which is the correct statement. Which of the following statement is true? Option A, B, C, or D. Question number 6. Who is this? Dhanlakshmi is saying A and D. How it is possible, Dhanlakshmi? Only one option could be correct in MCQ. You cannot opt two options under MCQ. Okay, Sreen Ahmed is saying D. Very good. Santosh Linga is saying A. Yogita on query portal is saying D. Rahul is also saying D. We have discussed that the previous year could be less than 12 months or up to 12 months. But assessment year would be always 12 months, always 12 months. That's a universal rule that assessment year would be always for 12 months. So the correct option is option number D in this case. Okay. I will upload this MCQ also with answers. Question number 7. If business start on 10th May 2025, what would be the or what will be the previous year for such business? Question number 7. You have to answer this. Navneet Morga is saying option C. Well done. Avinash, okay, no answer yet. Mr. Anil, no answer yet. Kuldeep, no answer yet. Neeraj is saying C. Meenu, no answer yet. Nidhi, no answer yet. For question number 7, Lakshita is saying C. Absolutely correct. The correct answer of question number 7 is C. Prakriti is saying C. Well done. Hiram Joshi is saying C. Kindly write down the question number so I would be able to understand which question you are answering. Shraddha is saying C. Very good. Himanshu is still on question number 3. Sapa, we are not yet answered. Pranav is saying C. Very well done. Pranav saying, what is the sixth one answer? I have explained it to you. Answer was option number D. We are on YouTube. You can scroll back and you can see which is the correct answer. Hina is saying option C. Yes, the correct answer is option number C in case of question number 7. Radheshyam Tiwari also gave the correct answer. Adil also gave the correct answer. Well done, students. Income Tax Act 1961 came into force from which date Income Tax Act 1961 has came into force? What is the correct answer? No answers. Okay. Aditya is saying B. Shalini is saying B. Yes, the correct answer is, of course, B, because income tax came in force from 1st April 1962. Moving on further, income tax is charged on every person, individual, HUF or JHF. Which is the correct option? The option correct is A. Okay, these are simple questions, so nothing to discuss. Which of the following is binding on both assessee and department? Kindly read this question number 10 and give me the correct answer. Which of the following is binding on both assessee and department? There was circular, there was notification, both or none. Question number 10 answer. Chandana is saying 10. Oh, answer is Chandana was saying C. Okay. Shalini is saying B. Prajapati is saying not yet. Iswarya is saying B. B. Rihaya Karkera is saying B. The correct answer is B. Notifications are binding on both. Circulars are not binding upon the assessee. Very well done. So those were MCQ. The other MCQs from question number 1 relates to the calculation of tax. So that we will discuss after our today's topic. Okay, students. So moving on to the provisions. In the last class, we were discussing the rates of tax structure. And there were some example also. I guess 2 illustration I have given to you for the purpose of solution. And I believe you must have tried it. Okay. So now moving on further. In the last class, we have discussed the basic rate structure under both regime. There was optional tax regime and there was default tax regime. The tax rates as per slab we have discussed in the last class, like up to 2,50,000 rupees basic exemption limit, 3 lakh rupees basic exemption limit for senior citizen, 5 lakh for super senior citizen, and accordingly the slab rate was like a money train. In this default tax regime, the slab rates are same for everyone. First 4 lakh exempted, next 4 lakh 5%, and so on. After that, we were discussing the rebate provision. The rebate provision for optional tax structure we have discussed in the last class. And it was like up to total income is if up to 5 lakh rupees. Then you can claim a rebate of 12,500 rupees or the amount of tax. Whichever is lower would be your rebate. I have given some multiple question also for the purpose of your homework. And I believe you must have solved it. If there is any query, you can send me. We will discuss it. The rebate concept in case of default tax regime. Now, this is we are discussing right now. After this rebate concept of default tax regime and surcharge provision, I will take the queries and we will move on further. So the rebate in case of default tax regime is 2 types rebate. It says if your total income up to 12 lakh rupees. If your total income is up to 12 lakh rupees, then you can claim a rebate under default tax regime up to 60,000 rupees or the amount of tax, whichever is lower. So exactly same as in case of this case, if up to 5 lakh rupees, the amount of tax or 12,500 is lower, you can claim as a rebate. And in case of default tax regime, if your total income is up to rupees 12 lakh rupees, then you can claim a rebate of 60,000 rupees or the amount of tax, whichever is lower. Now there's a new case in case of default tax regime, there's a new case also, and it says even if your total income exceed 12 lakh rupees, still you can claim rebate as follows under default tax regime only. If your income exceeding 12 lakh rupees, if it is up to 12 lakh rupees, the rebate concept is very simple. Fixed limit of 60,000 or the amount of tax, whichever is lower, would be your rebate. But if your total income exceeding 12 lakh rupees, in this case, you can also claim rebate. There are some steps you have to follow. Step number 1. Step 1 says, the total income has been given in question that amount, and please reduce 12 lakh rupees from that total income. The balance would be called A. Suppose the total income has been given in the question 12 lakh 50,000. Suppose the income has been given 12 lakh 50,000. Then we have to write it down. Total income 12 lakh 50,000 over here. You have to reduce 12 lakh rupees. It's a fixed limit, and the balance would be 50,000. That would be treated as A. I will solve an example after this. Then step number 2 you have to follow. Step 2 says, now calculate tax on total income, which is given in question. That will be regarded as B. So step 1 says you have to calculate the difference between the total income less 12 lakh rupees. That would be regarded as A. Step number 2, you need to calculate tax on total income, whatever given in question. Suppose in question it has been given 12 lakh 50,000. For example, suppose total income is 1250. So that means A option would not be applicable, because A option is applicable when TI is up to 12 lakh. But now we have to calculate the rebate as per option B. And now as per step 1, the value would be 1250 minus 12 lakh. So step 1 value would be 50,000. That would be A in my case. Clear? Now step B says that you have to calculate tax on 12 lakh 50,000 rupees value as per the slab rate. Up to 4 lakh it's free, like that. So the tax on 12 lakh 50,000 would be 67,500. Now no rebate would be applicable till now. So the normal tax as per the slab rate in case of default tax regime would be 67,500. That would be regarded as B. Clear? तो पहले स्टेप में क्या करना है? टोटल इनकम में से 12 लाख को घटा देना है. जो बैलेंस बचेगा वो मेरा स्टेप नंबर 1. स्टेप 2 क्या करना है कि जो टोटल इनकम गिवन है क्वेश्चन में, वॉट एवर टोटल इनकम हैज बीन गिवन इन द क्वेश्चन, वी हैव टू कैलकुलेट नॉर्मल टैक्स एज पर स्लैब रेट on that total income. So in this example, because we have taken the total income as 12 lakh 50,000, so as per slab rate, the tax would be 67,500. Clear? Now, if we have to check this condition, this is very important. If B is greater than A, if my B is greater than A, if B is exceeding A, if B is more than A, if B is more than A, then rebate would be like this. And rebate provision would be B minus A. So if B exceeding A, if B is not exceeding A, there would be no rebate. But if B is exceeding A, then rebate is step number 2 minus step number 1. Or we can say rebate would be B minus A. So in my example, you can see that B is more than A. B is 67,500 and A is only 50,000. So technically in my example, this condition has been satisfied. So in my example, B is more than A. So if I need to calculate the rebate would be 67,500 minus 50,000. So that would be 17,500. And what we should do with the rebate? Rebate is a kind of a discount. We have to reduce this from my tax. And my tax was 67,500. Because income was 12 lakh 50,000. I have calculated the tax. That was 67,500. Need to reduce it. So my tax liability would be 50,000. And 4% cess need to be applicable on this 50,000. Understood? So in case of default tax regime, if income is up to 12 lakh rupees, you can claim a rebate 60,000 or amount of tax, whichever is lower. If it's more than 12 lakh rupees, then you have to calculate rebate as per step number 1, 2, and then you have to see whether B is more than A, then yes, rebate would be applicable. If B is not more than A, then no rebate. And how we need to calculate rebate? If B is more than A, the simple formula is B minus A. That would be my rebate. So let me tell you this rebate concept, this B exceeding A concept you have to check whenever your total income is exceeding 12 lakh rupees in case of default tax regime. And let me tell you, it's not the case that every time you will get a rebate if your income is exceeding 12 lakh rupees. No. Up to a certain amount of limit, this B exceeding A concept would be applicable. After a certain limit, this B exceeding A limit would not be applicable. That means after a certain time, if income is exceeding a specific limit, then this B exceeding A would not happen. Let me give you that fixed limit. Look, if it is exceeding 12 lakh, you have to calculate rebate as per point number B. And I have calculated yesterday that up to 12 lakh 70,580 rupees. Up to this limit, if you apply the rebate provision, in that case, B would be exceeding A. You can remember this exact amount. Up to 12 lakh 70,580 rupees. If you will apply rebate provision, in that case, you will find B exceeding A. If your total income exceeding 12 lakh 70,580, then B will not exceeding A. So for the purpose of a shortcut or for the purpose of time saving, you can remember this exact limit. If in the question, suppose the income has given 12 lakh 80,000. 12 lakh 80,000. Then let me tell you, if you apply these rebate provision, your B will not exceeding A. So you can skip the provision and you can write it down directly. Rebate is not applicable. That will save your time. Because if you'll go through the step number 1, 2, it will consume your time. And then you will find out, okay, B is not exceeding A. So this is important for your examination. You can learn this limit. If your total income is up to 12 lakh 70,580, then rebate would be applicable. And if it is not so, then rebate would not be applicable. If you want to check, you can check. Up to 1270,580, you will see that B is exceeding A. And if you increase your income from 1270,580 to suppose 1270,590, if you increase 10 rupees multiple, then your B will not exceed. Okay. So I have researched that yesterday. Okay. Miss Arju needs to ask something. Kindly send your queries in chat box. I have told that after this rebate and surcharge provision, I will take your queries. Okay. And you can even send your query on the query portal also, Arju. Okay. So that was the rebate concept. In case of optional tax regime, it's very simple. In case of default tax regime, if it is up to 12 lakh, we have a specific provision. If it's exceeding 12 lakh, and now you have a special limit for shortcut purpose also, exceeding 12 lakh up to 12 lakh 70,580. Then you have to apply the rebate concept as per step number 1, step number 2, etc. Let me see what students wants to say. When surcharge and cess would be computed, Harivansh Kumar, we are going to discuss the surcharge provision right now after this rebate concept. More than 99 messages due to the MCQs, I believe. I'm just checking out if there is any query. Till that, you can do one thing. Until I'm checking out the queries, I am giving you a simple homework to solve this rebate concept question, which has been given in study material also, and I have incorporated that in the notes also. So here is a question in front of all of you. You can try that question and you understand how to give the rebate. Till that time, let me see the chat box because there are 89 messages due to the MCQ. So I have to find which is related to query. Navneet, okay. Till that time, kindly solve this question. Arju, I am going to see if any query has been sent by you. I will take it out in the chat box. नीरज कुमार इज आस्किंग सर जो 12 लाख का एग्जेम्पशन है वो यही है यस नीरज 12 लाख का जो एक एग्जेम्पशन के बारे में आप लोगों ने सुना है कि गवर्नमेंट ने 12 लाख रुपए तक की इनकम पर टैक्स एग्जेम्प्ट कर दिया है वो एक्चुअल में रिबेट है कि 12 लाख रुपए तक अगर आप टैक्स कैलकुलेट भी करेंगे डिफॉल्ट टैक्स रिजिम में तो 12 लाख तक का जो टैक्स है स्लैब रेट के हिसाब से 60,000 आएगा 60,000 एंड एग्जैक्टली 60,000 की आपको रिबेट मिल जाएगी तो टैक्स लायबिलिटी वुड बी 0 सो जो 12 लाख की हम एग्जेम्पशन सुन रहे हैं वो एग्जेम्पशन नहीं एग्जेम्पशन सिर्फ 4 लाख रुपए की है बेसिक एग्जेम्पशन लिमिट इज ओनली 4 लाख द 12 lakh up to 12 lakh rupees you need not to pay tax that is because of rebate okay Miss Meenu is saying B is not greater than A, no rebate. Exactly. If B is not greater than A or B is equivalent to A, there would not be any rebate. Twenty-nine chats left. Miss Tiwari Radheshyam is saying, sir, please explain the calculation of 67,500. Let me show you. Look, the income we have taken 12,50,000. Okay. Up to 4 lakh. I believe you must have not revised the provision yesterday. Up to 4 lakh, tax would be nil. Next 4 lakh rupees, tax rate is 5%. So that means tax would be 20,000. So this is aggregate is 4 lakh, 4 lakh, 8 lakh we have considered. The next 4 lakh rupees, tax rate is 10%. So technically 40,000 would be the tax. So now 4 lakh plus 4, 8 and 8 and 4 is 12 lakh rupees has been utilized. Now the balance is 50,000. On 50,000, the tax rate is 15%. So that would be 7,500. So 20,000 plus 40,000 plus 7,500, 67,500 would be your tax on 12,50,000. Clear, Ms. Tiwari? You all have tried this example, which is on the screen. Any problem in this? You will understand how to give the rebate. And now because I have told you the exact amount of total income till which you can get the rebate, so that would be easy in your exam or the question. If income is more than lakh 12,070 or 12 lakh 70,000 limit, then you can skip the rebate provision. Arju is saying, sir, I have a doubt that how a robot can be considered artificial judicial person. I didn't get it. Okay, Arju, have you ever seen a movie that was called Entertainment in which somebody has make a legal heir or a trustee or a legal representative of his or her property, a dog? So under income tax, suppose we have considered the owner as an unnatural person and AI we have established and we have said this AI will be the owner of my company. It will take decision on the basis of the certain amount of software we have inputted. So in that situation, if that any unnatural person which cannot fall in the above 7 categories, then in that case, that need to be fall under the last category. Okay, we have discussed that even God does fall in the artificial judicial person. Why? Because they do not fall in from first to 7 categories. So if there is any income and if there is any owner of that income, whether it's natural or unnatural person, we will take that person in the category of either individual, HUF, etc. But if that specific person or that specific entity does not fall in any of these above category, then it will fall under artificial judicial person due to we cannot include that in any other category. Okay. So that could be a case. Mr. Galti is saying, sir, we can blindly go with this figure 1270590 for applicability of rebate under default tax regime. 1270580, you can claim the rebate. And if your total income after rounding off is 1270590 or more, there would not be any rebate concept. Yes, you can go like that. Got it, Arju? Welcome, welcome. This saying, sir, how 12 lakh taken? 12 lakh you have to take. That's the specific fixed limit. You have to take the 12 lakh always when you calculate the rebate because it has been given in the provision. That step 1 says total income. Whatever given in question, you have to take. And you have to reduce the 12 lakh amount of limit that is fixed in each question to calculate the rebate. Okay. Why minus 15K? Because 15K is step number A. How to calculate rebate? The rebate calculation formula is B minus A. So if B is exceeding A, then how to calculate rebate? B minus A. What is B in this case? B is 62250 and 15,000 is the A. So that's why we have to reduce 15,000. That is as per option number A. Prerna is saying, sir, if an optional, if income is more than 5 lakh, then no rebate for super senior up to 5 lakh. Exactly. Super senior citizen cannot take the benefit of rebate in any case because their 5 lakh rupees income is exempted. So whenever the income under optional tax regime is exceeding 5 lakh rupees, there would not be any rebate at all. Clear, Mustafa? Well done. Section learn करने की need है. Yes, it's good if you are able to learn the section. That will impact on your marks in the examination. So you should learn the section. But if it's not possible to all of you to learn all section, then you can learn the important sections. Illustration 10 समझ नहीं आया. Illustration 10 I have given you as a number. इसमें 60,000 का अमाउंट समझ नहीं आया. Up to 12 lakh rupees. Listen, up to 12 lakh rupees, the tax limit, the tax would be 60,000. Like in this example, if you'll calculate 4 lakh rupees tax nil, next 4 lakh 5%, 20,000, next 4 lakh 10%. So up to 12 lakh rupees, our tax would be 60,000 rupees. I will show that to you. How we got 62250? That is the tax on 12 lakh 15,000 rupees. If you calculate tax on this, first 4 lakh rupees tax, nil. Next 4 lakh rupees tax at the rate of 5% would be 20,000. Next 4 lakh rupees tax at the rate 10%, 40,000. So 12 lakh has been exhausted. How much balance has been left? 15,000. And on which 15% tax rate we have to apply, and that would be 2250. So aggregate tax would be 62250. Simple. Okay, cess provision we will discuss. After surcharge concept, we will discuss cess provision also. Just wait. So we are restricting rebate. We are not restricting that rebate. We cannot get rebate more than that. Rebate we are getting 47,250. The rebate is 47,250 in this example. 15,000 is the tax after it. Earlier tax was 62250. After rebate is this. So after rebate, tax is 15,000. We are restricting the rebate up to 47,250, Kuldeep. Okay. Why we are further subtracting 47250 from? Because we have to calculate the tax, and for the purpose of calculation of tax, we have to reduce the rebate from the tax. I will show it to you, don't worry. Just be sure about it that you are able to understand how rebate has been calculated. That is important right now. What will be the surcharge concept, what will be the cess, etc. That we are going to discuss later. Question solved. Good. Tiwari ji saying good. Thank you. Any else? Let me see. Rebate section 87A. Yes. If TI is 1262250, then no rebate means where I have said that 1262250. No. A person other than individual and HUF can take the benefit of rebate? No, not possible. Only individual can take the benefit of rebate technically. Mr. Pradnav is asking if 12,70,600, then still B is more than A. You have to calculate it, and let me tell you, no, it would not be the case. Up to 12,70,580, only B is going to be greater than A. I will send a sheet also. I have prepared a sheet in which I have calculated these limit. Sure. Moving on to the provision. So rebate, after finding out the rebate, once you calculate the rebate as B minus A. So rebate is B minus A. So rebate is a kind of a discount. Then what we need to do, whatever tax we have calculated, from that value, we have to reduce the rebate. Clear? So the structure of calculation of taxes, first of all, calculate tax as per the slab rate, then reduce rebate, whether it is an optional regime or default regime. The concept, the structure is same. The rebate, whatever you have calculated, you have to reduce it from your tax liability if it is applicable. After the rebate, we need to add surcharge. Now, what is surcharge? Surcharge is tax on tax. In a simple language, surcharge means tax on tax. So after reducing rebate, if there any rebate, on this value, we have to apply surcharge. What is the surcharge rate that we are going to discuss? Surcharge needs to add back in this tax. And suppose if this tax is A, surcharge on A. After this, suppose this is tax plus surcharge. This is point number B. Suppose this total is point number B after surcharge, if applicable. Surcharge is not mandatory in all cases. There are certain cases. So if surcharge is applicable, then whatever you will add as surcharge, that total B. Now 4% cess need to apply on B. And that is always need to be applicable. If there is this value, whether after surcharge, no surcharge does not mean. But if there is total B is there, if there is tax, there would be cess always. 4% cess would be applicable on this B value. And this would be my total tax liability. So when in a question, total tax liability has been asked, you have to follow these steps. You have to calculate initially tax. Then you have to see if the rebate is applicable. If yes, you have to reduce that rebate. After reduction of rebate, if this value is there, then you have to apply surcharge if surcharge provision applicable. On this B point, now you have to apply cess 4%, and that would be my total tax liability. So there are technically 4 components of tax liability: tax, rebate, surcharge, and cess. Now this is clear. Now what is the surcharge provision? Let me show you. So the surcharge concept under optional tax regime and under default tax regime, almost same. If your total income And do not bother about the tax calculation. We have just start solving some illustration. Only one or two illustration we have tried. When we will solve more illustration, more 1st November, that is problem solving session. In that problem solving session, we will only take the numericals provisions of chapter 1 and chapter 2. So after 1st November, I assure you, you will find these tax calculation are so simple. So I can predict the future. I am a future teller also, and I am telling you, after 1st November, you will find it out. These tax calculation questions are so easy to solve. Till that, just try to understand the provision. Do not take burden. As I've told you in the first session, you have to create interest in the studies. That is the only way you will find this course or any subject is easy. The first step to create interest in studies is to enjoy the study. Whenever there's any class, you have to think like this. Okay, today I'm going to learn something new. Suppose before 2 sessions, when we did not take session number 1 and session number 2, you were unaware of these rebate concept. You even don't know what is exactly rebate. What is exemption 12 lakh rupees? What is this optional regime, default tax regime? And after 2 sessions, now you have a great knowledge regarding calculation of tax. So do not take burden. Oh God, it is so complicated. No, do not think about it. Think like this. This is so interesting. I have learned something which maybe my friends, those are not doing CA, or my relatives, those not are doing CA, they do not know about it. So you have some knowledge that makes you superior in comparison to others. So you have to take things like this, that if it is complicated, student, it is important. This is the universal truth of your life, whether it's academic or whether it's personal. Whatever is important is difficult, and whatever is difficult is important. जो भी easy है उसकी value नहीं. Doing graduation is easy, so it does not have that much value. Doing CA is difficult, that's why it is having value. Buying a cycle is not that much big thing, so that's not that matter. Buying a car, if it is a BMW, Mercedes, that's matter because purchasing that car is difficult. So whatever is difficult in your life, that is automatically important. Doing IAS is more difficult, more important. Being the Prime Minister of India is more difficult, it's more important. So whatever is worthy, it's need to be complicated, need to be difficult. So if it is difficult, that's why it's important for you, because normal people cannot understand this. Okay, so you have to create interest like this. There are more ways to create interest. This is first step of creating interest in your studies. Whenever you are learning something, just don't take the burden. Do not think, okay, it's complicated. Nothing is complicated. It just needs practice and revision, and things will be found very easy. Like whenever you must be doing your 10th, boards were there. You must be scared of 10th. Oh my God, it's board examination. What happened now? If somebody will ask you, your cousin who is in 10th, and he will say, or she will say that 10th is so difficult, it's a board examination. What you will say? No, it's so easy, because you have completed that. So whatever we are doing, we feel it difficult. Whenever we complete it, we find it easy. And one day you will find CA easy because you would be a CA. Okay. So under optional tax regime, if your taxable income, your total income up to 50 lakh rupees, no surcharge. So surcharge is not applicable under even optional tax regime or default tax regime if the total income is up to rupees 50 lakh. So technically, if you will see, I have told you that there would be tax minus rebate plus surcharge plus cess. This is the format. And you can see either rebate would be there or surcharge would be there. Both cannot exist technically in the same calculation, because rebate would end after 12 lakh or 5 lakh. If your income exceeding more than 12 lakh 70,000, there would not be any rebate. And surcharge would start from when income exceeding 50 lakh rupees. So till 50 lakh, no surcharge. So surcharge would be applicable when your total income would exceeding 50 lakh. So technically, when surcharge would be there, obviously rebate would not be applicable, because income exceeding 50 lakh, then rebate cannot be there. if your total income exceeding 50 lakh and up to 1 crore rupees, then surcharge would be 10% on tax. Whatever tax would be there, 10% of that tax would be your surcharge. Same concept in default tax. There is only one difference. If your total income exceeding 1 crore, but up to 5 crore, the surcharge rate would be whatever tax would be there. The surcharge would be 15% on tax. So, as the income cross 1 crore rupees, surcharge rate would change. Whatever would be your now tax liability, surcharge rate would be 15%. If total income exceeding, 1 crore up to 2 crore, not 5 crore, it's 2 crore. If total income exceeding 2 crore rupees, but up to 5 crores, then surcharge rate would be 25% on tax. Same as over here. If total income exceeding 5 crore rupees, then surcharge would be 37% on tax. But in case of default tax regime, it will remain 25%. It will not change. So this is only one difference. When income exceeding 5 crore rupees, then in case of optional tax regime, surcharge rate would be 37%. And under default tax regime, it would remain 25%. Let me show you how. Suppose the total income is 6 crore rupees. So we have to calculate tax on it. And let me take a approximate figure. This is not the real tax I have calculated. I am just telling you how to apply the surcharge. Suppose the tax on this value is 2 crore rupees. In both cases, suppose. So if it is an optional tax regime, we have to apply 37% of 2 crore rupees as surcharge. 37% of 2 crore rupees would be the surcharge. After adding that surcharge, total cess would be 4%. Need to be added back. Understood? But in case of default tax regime, the surcharge rate would remain 25% on this 2 crore. That would be 50 lakh approx. So my tax would be 2.5 crore and now 4% cess need to be applicable on this 2.5 crore. After adding it, that would be my total tax liability. So surcharge provision we have discussed. You can see that almost same provision under optional tax regime and default tax regime. So I am discussing with these provision with you in a chart format or in a diagram, but it has been written, everything has been written in the notes also. So you can go through with those notes now. So moving on to the notes, before that, let me see if there is any query. Mustafa is saying optional tax regime, there is no tax on income till 5 lakh rupees because there is a rebate of 12,500. Absolutely correct. So when someone says, that under income tax, income is exempted up to 5 lakh rupees under optional tax regime. If somebody says to income exempted up to 5 lakh rupees, you can correct them. No, you are wrong. Income is not exempted up to 5 lakh rupees. Income exempted is 2.5 lakh rupees, 3 lakh rupees for senior citizen, 5 lakh rupees for super senior citizen. But for senior citizen and for other, it is exempted up to 2.5 and 3 lakh. But you need not to pay tax up to 5 lakh due to rebate. In the same way under default tax regime, if somebody says that income exempt up to 12 lakh rupees, you can correct them. No, you are wrong. Income exemption is 4 lakh rupees, but you need not to pay tax up to 12 lakh rupees due to the effect of rebate. So that's the difference between a CA student and a normal BCom student. They will say 12 lakh rupees exemption and you will correct them. No, it is not 12 lakh exemption at all. It is 4 lakh exemption. Balance is due to the rebate where we make the difference. You must have seen when your relatives came to your house or your friend or your parents' friends came to meet you. And even if you tell them, if they'll ask you what you are doing and you're saying you are CA, you are doing CA, they say O, and that O means you are intelligent, you are different. So because we are doing CA, we did not notice it, but you will see that if you tell somewhere that I am in CA inter, I am in CA final, I am even doing CA as a foundation student, they will say, oh, you are doing CA. Nobody will say when you say I am doing BCom, they will say okay. And you will find the respect between this okay and O. Okay. Chalo. Sayyid is saying in the said example, if TI is 1262250, then there is no rebate. Yes, you can calculate it. There would not be any rebate. Workings in MCQs are not required. Of course, they are optional. But if the question asks you, then you should give that working. Shalini wants to ask something. Okay. See, Shalini. Sir, in module, SES is computed as health and education SES. Is both same? Yeah, exactly. The exact name of the SES is health and education SES, but we called it generally SES because the 4% is the aggregate limit. Shalini, you can send your query in the chat box. No query of yours in the chat box. Kindly send it over there. शालिनी पूछ रही है सर जो 12 लाख की रिबेट है उसमें 4 लाख की एग्जेम्पशन इंक्लूड है स्टार्टिंग के 4 लाख तो एग्जेम्प्ट ही होते हैं शालिनी ठीक है ना उस पर तो कोई टैक्स ही नहीं है आप बैलेंस पे टैक्स निकालेंगे तो टैक्स आपका 12 लाख पर 60,000 ही आएगा फर्स्ट 4 लाख यस उसमें इंक्लूड है फर्स्ट 4 लाख अंडर डिफॉल्ट टैक्स रिजिम टैक्स इज निल नेक्स्ट 4 लाख 5% 20,000 so aggregate is 20,000 aggregate income is 8 lakh next 4 lakh 10% so 40,000 so aggregate tax is 60,000 aggregate income is 12 lakh so that's why rebate 60,000 has been given so up to 12 lakh you need not to pay any taxes okay chalo now moving on to the notes, we have discussed a lot of things with the help of a diagram, but time to discuss with the notes now. And because we have discussed a lot of things as the diagram, so I will ask you to read those provision from the notes. So that would be clear for you, like rebate concept, etc. So these question I have given to you for the purpose of your homework. I believe you must have gone through with that. This is the format of tax. And let me tell you, rebate and surcharge would not be applicable simultaneously in most of the cases. These were the examples. If you'll try those examples right now, maybe that would be really easy to solve you more. Rebate will be provided before calculation says. Surcharge concept is now over here. 10% on tax if income exceeding 50 lakh up to 1 crore. 1 to 2, 15. 2 to 5, 25, more than 5, 37. So these are surcharge provisions for optional tax regime. That's why 37% is there. Health and education cess is 4% in all cases. So I have made a surcharge chart also. We will discuss surcharge provision. There are some special surcharge concept also there that we will discuss with the help of surcharge chart. That would be maybe on the problem session date. Default tax regime rates we have discussed up to 4 tax is nil. 4 to 8 tax would be 20,000. Then you can see 40,000 tax. Then tax would be 60,000. Then tax would be 80,000. Then tax would be 1 lakh. If you'll see up to aggregate 24 lakh, up to 24 lakh rupees income, if you'll add the tax amount, that would be 3 lakh rupees. Total tax up to 24 lakhs. So there's a shortcut also for all of you. Suppose in the exam, question says, suppose your income is 30 lakh rupees. Calculate tax. So now I know up to 24 lakh, the tax is 3 lakh rupees. So up to 24 lakh, I can directly take the tax as 3 lakh rupees. So now balance left is 6 lakh and the rate is 30%. So 1 lakh 80,000. Total tax would be 4 lakh 80,000. There is nothing like income tax. It is simple mathematics, because if in the question income has been given above 24 lakh and you have been asked to calculate tax, then you know up to 24 lakh the tax would be 3 lakh. The balance value you just need to calculate 30%. So it will save your time. Understand? It will save your time. There are some conditions we have discussed that you have to sacrifice a lot of exemption deductions. What are those exemption deductions? That is going to be discussed separately in the specific sections. Now the surcharge limits we will discuss with the help of diagram as I have discussed, but surcharge limits are same as optional tax regime, except maximum surcharge rate is 25% in case of default tax regime. This topic is going to be discussed in detail in the written chapter. This is also need to be discussed in detail in written chapter. That's why we are not discussing it. AMT topic also going to be discussed under the final chapter, chapter number 9. So we have discussed technically the rate of taxes for individual, HUF, AOP, BOI, and AJP under optional regime as well as under default tax regime. But there were more person like partnership firm rates we did not discuss, LLP, company, etc. So these rates are going over. We are going to discuss now. In case of partnership firm and LLP and local authority, the rate is fixed 30%. No slab rate. Very simple to calculate. If that is a partnership firm question, LLP question, or local authority question, and suppose the income has been given 1 lakh rupees, then there is no concept of slab rate. Tax rate is fixed 30%. So tax would be directly 30,000. Good news, rebate concept is also not applicable. In case of partnership firm, etc., you cannot claim the rebate. Rebate is only for individual who is resident in India. So in case of partnership firm, fixed tax is 30%. Surcharge would be applicable at the rate of 12%. Single surcharge rate if total income exceeding 1 crore rupees. So in case of individual, etc., surcharge applicable when your TI exceeding 50 lakh rupees. But in case of partnership firm, LLP, local authority, tax rate 30%. No rebate applicable. Surcharge is 12%. Single rate if your total income exceeding 1 crore. There are some special rates of tax as we have discussed in first session. There are two kinds of rates of tax. One is basic rates. Those are special. Those are slab rate we have discussed, and these 30% rates. But there are certain specific rates which needs to be applied according to income. Like capital gain is having different rate of taxes, short-term cap gain, different rate of tax, casual income, different rate of tax. So those tax rates need to be discussed, or we are going to be discussed in the respective chapters. Now there is marginal leave concept also. What is marginal leave? That we will discuss later in this chapter in individual case first. Then you will automatically understand the concept of marginal leave for partnership firm. Rate of tax for cooperative society. Cooperative societies and companies are not in our syllabus for calculation of tax, etc. So you can just go through with these rates. You just need to learn the basic rates, not need to worry about the calculation of tax in these cases. So kindly go through with the provision of cooperative society tax rate structure. Single rates, no slab rates, no rebate applicable, nothing. So these are the rates for cooperative societies. You can read it and do not bother about it because these are not in our syllabus for the purpose of calculation of tax. Again, in case of domestic company, the rate has been given. Again, these section will be dealt at final level. So you just learn these basic rate, that this tabular form I have made. You can just read the rates from this and just go through with the provision. No need to be worried. These are company rates now, domestic company. This is now foreign company rate. You can just read the rates. Now rebate, what we have discussed in today's session in the starting for default tax regime. It has been written over here. In order to provide tax relief, rebate is available to individual resident in India. And rebate in two category, 1 and 2. First category, if your income does not exceed 12 lakh, it's 60,000. If it exceeds 12 lakh rupees and up to 12 lakh, the limit was 12 lakh 70,000. 12 lakh 70,580 rupees. Till that amount, rebate would be applicable technically. The step 1, step 2, step C, we have discussed already. Example we have discussed. In case of optional tax regime, the rebate concept is just if your TI does not exceed 5 lakh, rebate is 12,500 rupees or amount of tax, whichever is lower. Here is example. Suppose if it is 4 lakh 15,000, on 4 lakh 15,000 tax would be 8250, and you can get the rebate of full value. Now concept of marginal relief is there. After marginal relief, we will move on to agricultural income concept. Now, when I will discuss the provision of marginal relief, you might feel something very unusual because the concept of marginal relief, when it applies in a specific condition, and marginal relief in short is nothing, just a discount. So do not worry about what is the meaning of this word. The marginal relief simple meaning is discount from tax. Just like rebate, but in a different way. So it just discount from tax. Marginal relief means discount from tax. Now, when marginal relief applies, this is very interesting. And when I will tell you this thing, you might get confused what I'm saying. Listen very carefully. It says, generally, the basic provision is if there is income, there would be tax. Suppose if income is 100 rupees, there would be tax which is less than income. So technically the universal rule is tax cannot exceed income. Tax cannot exceed income. And you must have seen the rate of tax. The slab rate of tax is maximum was 30%. So if I'll ask you, what could be the maximum tax rate which can be charged on any income is 30%. And suppose if surcharge is applicable on this 30%, that is 10% on tax. So it's not 30 plus 10, 40. It's 10% of 30. So technically 3%. And 4% cess. So technically we are saying maximum 35% would be tax plus surcharge plus cess. So if I earn 100 rupees, the maximum tax could be 35 rupees. So technically, if on the basis of rates of taxes, what we have gone through till now, the maximum rate of tax is 30%. The surcharge maximum rate, chalo, ye bhi we can do. The tax highest rate is 30%. Okay? And the surcharge highest rate is 37% on tax. So 37% of this 30%. Almost 12%, suppose. Fine. So total is 42%. If I earn 100 rupees, then tax could be maximum 30% and 37% surcharge on that tax. So that would be almost 12%. So including tax and surcharge, that maximum would be 42%. On this 4% cess could be there. Suppose that is maximum 2%. So I can say that maximum 45% tax, surcharge, and cess after including highest rate of tax, highest rate of surcharge, and the cess. the maximum tax liability could not exceed 45%. So if I earn 100 rupees, the maximum tax, surcharge, etc. can be recovered. Maximum 45. Clear? In case of black money, it is 78%, but we are taking normal case. That 45 may be the highest amount of tax recovery which can be done by the government. Understood? Now what marginal relief says. Now understand this language. Marginal relief says, it says suppose your income is 100 rupees and tax on that income is 105 rupees. If it happens, what it says, marginal relief concept says, suppose your income is 100 and suppose the tax on that income, only tax, we are not talking about the interest and penalties, we are talking about just the tax. So your income is 100 rupees and suppose your tax is 105 rupees. कि आपका इनकम 100 रुपए हो और आपका टैक्स 105 रुपए हो जाए. I am also explaining this concept in Hindi, so that would be easy to understand you, all of you, if there is someone who wants to understand that as in Hindi. So if your income is 100 and कभी ऐसा हो जाए कि टैक्स इनकम से ज्यादा हो जाए. So if there is any situation when tax is exceeding income, then what we will do? Then we will provide you marginal relief. तब आएगा marginally. So marginally would be applicable only in that situation when your tax is exceeding income. Okay. So what marginally will do? Marginally say we will give you a discount. How much discount? Your tax minus income. So the excess amount of tax would be the marginal relief. So how to calculate marginal relief? If your income is low and your tax is higher than income, then the difference of that tax and income, that would be called marginal relief. Okay. और इसका होगा क्या? That would be a kind of discount for you, just like rebate. So we will deduct this marginal relief from the tax and now your tax liability would be only rupees 100. So now you can see income 100 and tax 100. So the tax cannot exceed income. So we are following this rule. Income tax is saying we are following this rule that tax cannot exceed your income. It can be maximum up to your income. And if in any case your tax increased your income, then the difference of that would be a marginal relief. It's a kind of a discount for you. You can reduce that discount from your tax. So your tax and your income would be same. Interesting. Before understanding this marginal relief, can you imagine when this can happen? We have taken the highest rate of taxes would be 45%, not more than that. So how it's possible that tax would be higher than income? Is it possible? But provisions are there. And let me tell you, if provisions are there, that means it could have been possible. There would be some situation, there must be some situation, some circumstances when this could happen. And because the provision has been made that if that situation arise, not in general, in special cases, if that situation arise, then if your tax is higher than income, then difference would be your marginal relief. So I'm just trying to make you understand that first of all, marginal relief is nothing. It's just a kind of discount. And what and how they are providing it, the difference of your tax and income would be called the marginal relief. When it apply, that we are going to discuss. An exact format, how we need to calculate this is an examination. That's also we are going to discuss. Okay. Let me see if there is any query. Neeraj is saying, sir, if we take any loan, so the loan amount will consider in tax calculation. No, that could, the interest you are paying on loan, that could be allowed as your expenditure, but not considered as for calculation of tax? Tiwari ji is saying, sir, optional tax regime is always same, but default tax regime keeps changing everyone as per Annual Finance Act. You cannot say like that. From last 2 or 3 years, optional tax regime has not changed and default is changing rapidly, but it's not mandatory. There could be changes in optional tax regime also. Kuldeep is asking, but how tax can exceed income? I will tell you, just stay with me. We are here to explain each and everything to you. Sir, Pranav is asking, sir, what is standard deduction of 75,000? Pranav, that is a part of salary topic. If you are a salaried income, you will get an extra 75,000 rupees deduction. So what it is, just wait for that. When we will discuss the salary topic, you will able to understand that concept also. Okay. Okay, so when marginal leave will arise and how it will arise, that we are going to discuss. Okay. So there is a specific format to calculate the marginal leave. The format is, suppose in the question is like this, calculate marginal leave if total income is 50 lakh 80,000. So first of all, let me tell you, marginal leave concept would be applicable only when income exceeding 50 lakh rupees. Marginally, that the concept what we were discussing, how it's possible that your income is less than your tax or the tax is exceeding income, that would be applicable only when surcharge is applicable upon you. If surcharge is not applicable upon you, marginally concept is not applicable. So in the exam also, if the examiner wants to calculate marginally, wants you to calculate the marginally, they will give the question in which income is exceeding 50 lakh rupees. If income is less than 50 lakh rupees, you can write it down, no marginally fixed answer. It is only applicable when income is exceeding 50 lakh rupees. Why? When we will solve it, you will understand. So this is a kind of concept which I cannot explain you without solving an example. If I'll try to explain you this concept without even example, you will be more confused. So we will explain this concept with the help of solution of an example. So what will happen? Example is going to be solved as well as you will able to understand the concept also very easily. So suppose question asks you to calculate marginally if your total income is 50 lakh 80,000 under optional tax regime. And it is a case of Mr. A, who is individual, resident in India, age is 40 year. We take another pen. This is what correct. 5. So the calculation of marginally, there are fixed step also. First of all, we have to write it down the income. One column is for income. One column is for tax. And now step number 1. Step 1 says whatever income has been given in the question, calculate tax on it as per the normal provision of income tax. So because it is a case of Mr. A, individual, 40 years of age, so that is basic exemption limit, 2,50,000, then 5%, 20% and 30%. So if we will calculate the tax in this case, the tax would be 1336500. This is a fixed step number 1. Whatever income has been given in the question, you have to calculate the tax. So will surcharge would be applicable? Now you will see in this case, if I'll ask you, will rebate applicable? No, rebate would not be applicable because up to 5 lakh is applicable only. Is surcharge is applicable? The answer is yes. We have seen that up to 50 lakh, there is no surcharge. But from 50 lakh till 1 crore rupees, the surcharge rate would be 10%. 10% on tax. So on this surcharge would be 133,650. So technically, my tax and surcharge would be 1470150. Cess will always be applicable at the end. After all calculation, we will not consider cess over here. We will only take the tax, surcharge, and rebate concept here. So step number 1 is fixed. Whatever income has been given in question, put that income over here and calculate the tax upon it as per the normal provision of Act. We are not discussing any new provision. Everything is normal provision as we have discussed earlier. No new concept is here. Just a format we have to follow. That's it. Now after that, step number 2. There is step 1, 2 also, just like the rebate concept we have discussed in default tax regime, but they are different. That is a different concept. This is a different concept. Now take that income till which there was no surcharge applicable. That means up to 50 lakh rupees. So step number 2, we have to take that income up to which there was no surcharge. So in this example, income is given 50 lakh 80,000. And what was the limit up to which no surcharge is applicable? That is 50 lakh in this case, of course. Now you need to calculate tax on income considering it that there is no surcharge. So the income we need to take up to 50 lakh rupees. Understand? So then that situation, the tax would be 1312500. And of course, surcharge would not be applicable because we have to take that income up to which surcharge is not applicable. So the tax liability would be 1312500. Clear? Cess would be applicable later. No cess need to be applicable. Now the question has been done. Step 1, we are not doing anything. We just calculate the tax on the income which has been given in the question. And this is fixed. This step is fixed. Take that income up to which no surcharge is applicable. Okay, now step number 3. Question solved. Step number 3 is difference. Now I have to find out the difference between the income and the difference between the tax. So difference between the income you can see is 80,000 rupees. So my income has been increased by only 80,000 rupees. And due to this, my tax has been increased by 1,57,650 rupees. You can see tax increased by 1,57,650 and income only increased by 80,000. So if my income would have been 50 lakh rupees, I do need to pay tax only 13,12,500. Now my income just increased by 80,000, but due to that, I have to pay tax of 1,57,650. That means tax is exceeding than income. This is the concept of marginal leave. When marginal leave applicable? When tax exceed income. So government says yes. You will say this is very wrong. I have just earned 80,000 rupees extra, and due to that, I have to pay extra tax, that is 1,57,650. So government says, do not worry, we will give you marginal leave. And what is the concept of marginal leave? The amount of tax minus amount of income. So this is your marginal leave, 77,650. So technically the difference of this is your marginal leave. So this is your discount. What we will do with the discount? This is going to be reduced from my tax liability. So my tax liability was Actually, I have earned income 50 lakh 80,000, on which tax is 1470150. The marginal leave is going to be reduced like a rebate 77650. The balance tax 1392500. Now 4% cess would be applicable. 55,700. 1448200. This is my answer. You might be thinking it's quite complicated because in a same session, we have discussing the rebate concept, we are discussing the marginal leave concept. So you might feeling it little complicated. But let me assure you, when we will complete today's session and I will give you homework, then if you'll try that homework, then you will find it out that numerical calculation or these calculations are not that difficult. We are not doing anything. We are just doing subtraction, multiplication, that's it. You need to understand the calculation of tax correctly. Now, this you should know how to calculate. This is important. How to calculate tax as per slab rate. Everything else is so simple. Step 1 is you need to calculate tax on this income. Step 2 is you need to calculate tax on 50 lakh. Step 3, that the difference you need to find. And the difference, if tax is exceeding, then there the difference would be your marginal relief. Reduce it from your tax. There would be answer. So if you are feeling it's complicated, we are just doing nothing. You just need to calculate how to calculate the tax. Let me change this example for you. One more example, so things would be more clear. Suppose in the same above question, now the total income as given in question is 1 crore 1 lakh. The total income has been given 1 crore 1 lakh. After this question, I will take the query and we will also going to take a small break. Now they say calculate marginal relief. Same step, do not need to do anything. Step number 1, income and tax. So the income which has been given in question, we have to calculate tax upon it. Tax on 1 crore 1 lakh rupees would be 2842500. Surcharge would be applicable. Yes, 15% surcharge would be applicable upon this value. 426375. That would be 3268875. So we are just calculating pure tax. A new concept in this case is just this. In the above example, when income was more than 50 lakh, 50 lakh 80,000, we took 50 lakh in step number 2, which is fixed. Clear? But if income is exceeding 1 crore rupees, that means if surcharge is applicable at the rate of 15%, then we have to take that amount of income in the second step on which surcharge rate was preceding this rate. You can see in the above example, the surcharge rate was 10%. So before this surcharge, what is the rate of surcharge is 0. Before 10%, the rate of surcharge is 0. And what is the income limit is 50 lakhs. So we have taken 50 lakh over here. So we have to take in step number 2, that total income, which is that surcharge rate, which is we have applied before it. Second step में हमें वो income लेनी है जो फर्स्ट स्टेप में जो सरचार्ज की रेट लग रही है उससे जो इनकम पिछली सरचार्ज की रेट होती है वो इनकम हमें सेकंड स्टेप में लेनी है. सो वी हैव टू टेक दैट इनकम इन स्टेप नंबर 2 which is preceding to that rate of surcharge which is applicable on step number 1. So step number 1 surcharge rate was 10%. So before this 10%, what is the surcharge rate? Surcharge rate is 0% up to 50 lakh rupees income. That's why I've taken 50 lakh rupees. Now in the second example, you will see the surcharge rate is 15%. And what is the rate of surcharge before 15% rate? The preceding surcharge rate is 10%. And it is applicable upon 1 crore rupees income. Up to 1 crore, the surcharge rate is 10%. So we have to take the preceding income up to which surcharge rate has been changed. Suppose if it is 2 crore 1 lakh. In case of 2 crore 1 lakh, the surcharge rate is 25%. Then we have to take over here the rate up to which surcharge changed 15%. And that would be 2 crore rupees limit over here. So step number 2 is the previous income limit up to which there is no surcharge or surcharge rate has been changed. So now we have to calculate tax on 1 crore rupees income. That would be 281,2500. Surcharge rate would be 10%, 281,250. Total tax would be 3093750. Solved. Step number 3 is like very simple. Difference is now 1 lakh rupees. So 1 lakh rupees income change, and now you can see the tax difference is 175,125. So again, tax is higher than income. So difference would be marginally 75,125. We need to reduce this marginally from this income to calculate my final tax. That would be 3193750. 4% cess would be there, 127750. 3321500 would be tax liability. So you have to just understand one thing, that step number 2 limit will change. Accordingly, step number 1, that would remain fixed. If step number 1 is more than 50 lakh up to 1 crore, then step 2 would be 50 lakh. If step number 1 is more than 1 crore up to 2 crore, the step 2 would be 1 crore. If step number 1 is more than 2 crore than 5 crore, then step number 2 would be 2 crore. If it is exceeding 5 crore, then step 2 would be 5 crores. So that would be accordingly changed. Now let me see what are the queries. Then we will go for a break. Yes, step 1 shall be reduced by MR. Correct. MR Mustafa is asking, MR first calculate taxable income exceeding 50 lakh plus surcharge if only 50 lakh won, 10% tax, and then calculate tax on 50 lakh and more income you earn, then compare both your tax and other income. Yes, absolutely correct. This is exactly the surcharges. Why tax tourism that you need to ask to the government? How 1336500 came? We just calculate tax on this value. I have given you an example yesterday also. You have to practice it. As per optional tax regime, you have to calculate tax on 50 lakh 80,000. Just try it, Pooja. If it's not came, let me know. I am going to solve it for you also. Dhruv is saying, sir, can I understand how to calculate tax? I can't understand how to calculate tax. Dhruv, did you attend the last 2 sessions? Basic concept session 1 and session 2, especially session 2, in which, of course, you are saying no, exactly. In session 2, the last session, we have discussed the rates, how to calculate tax. So before taking session 3, you have to go through on YouTube, watch session number 2. Then you would be able that how to calculate the tax, because the rates of taxes we have discussed in that class. So please try to take that class first, then solve some questions as we have given in homework. And even if in that case you are not able to calculate it, then I will help you. But first of all, you need to go and watch that session. Okay. Sir, MR75125, how we taken? Who is asking? Aditya. The difference between these two. If income is lower and tax is higher, then the difference between these two, 175, 125, you need to reduce your income from your tax. So income was 1 lakh and tax is 1,75,000, 125. So this difference will be called MR, as we have explained in the above example. Why the surcharge 10% is added in step number 2, Shireen? Because if income is exceeding 50 lakh and up to 1 crore, if income exceeding 50 lakh and up to 1 crore, then surcharge rate is 10%. That's why up to 50 lakh, there is no surcharge. On 1 crore, 1 lakh, surcharge rate is 15%. And we have to take that income in step number 2, which was preceding this surcharge rate is applicable, the maximum income. So we have to take 1 crore rupees over here. And on 1 crore rupees, the surcharge rate is applicable is 10%. That's why we have taken it. Calculation of tax is confusing. No, we did not practice it yet. Have you ever tried cycling first time? Was it easy to ride a bicycle? Was it easy, Miss Thea Sumi? It would be the most difficult task of your life, I believe. If you are trying to drive a car first time, you will find that this is the most difficult thing. And how it becomes so easy? Because of the practice. You just interacting with the income tax first time, and we are just solving some question. I promise when I will give you the illustration, the example we will solve together, you will find that very, very easy. It's very easy. I can assure you about this. Pooja is saying, sir, now I have calculated. Now I understand after calculation. Well done. Everything needs practice. And it's a very important thing to understand. When we go through with the numerical topics, it happens that only solving one or two questions does not clear each and everything. It takes practice. So when we will go with the exercise, the illustration, the test and knowledge questions, that would be really going to feel very easy. And I am giving you a date. I am giving a date of 1st November 2025 when we will have our problem session. On that day, I will ask to each and everyone. Those are thinking that tax calculation is difficult, MR is difficult, tax calculation difficult. I will ask you each and everyone, is it difficult? And 100% student, I can assure you, will say, no, sir, this is very easy chapter. Mark my word. On 1st November, that is going to be happen. So, time for a short break. So, Nisar, can we have a short break? Student, these are the theoretical part of marginal leaf. The format I have prepared for you, solved example also there. So you will not be confused after the class. If you'll go through with this marginal leaf concept with the example, you will understand each and everything. I am trying to make things very easy for you to understand with the help of all these things. So Nisar, can we have a short break? Okay. Welcome back, everyone. So we are going to discuss the further provisions. Let me see if there is any query left. Sir, 1 crore example, the one that more income also we have to calculate tax or not. Yes, we have to calculate tax. We need to reduce that tax MR from the tax liability. Okay. Harsh is saying, sir, I found that tax and surcharge calculation very easy now, only because of your beautiful clarification. Thank you, sir. Your teaching technique is very understandable. Thank you so much. And I'm telling to each and every student, you'll revise those provision and you'll try the question which I'm going to give you today for your homework. And till 1st of November, you will find each and everything was very, very easy. So moving ahead. Now the next or last topic you can say of our basic concept chapter, that is agricultural income. So in our country, maybe you have heard somewhere that agricultural income is not liable to tax. Exactly, that's a correct thing. Agricultural income is not liable to tax. But what is agricultural income? We should know. So first of all, we are discussing in this section 2.1a that what is the meaning of agricultural income. Generally, the farmer who produce, that is agricultural income. But that is not the only thing we can consider as an agricultural income. The definition is vast. And what is the definition? We have to understand under section 2.1a. So if your income falls under the definition of agricultural income under section 2.1a, then only that is going to be exempted from tax under section 10.1. So 10.1 exemption would be available if you fulfill the definition of section 2.1a. So what is the meaning of agricultural income? Any rent or revenue derived from land which is situated in India and used for agricultural purpose. Suppose you are having a land, and if you are doing agricultural operations on it and earning agricultural income. So that's, we all know it's technically an agricultural activity, and that is agricultural income exempt from tax. We all know that. But suppose if I am having a land and I am not using it for agricultural purpose but I let it out. I let out this land to any farmer who is actually using it for agricultural operations. And for that, he is paying rent to me. Now, this rent will also regarded as agricultural income. This is new. So, if there is any land on which I am doing agricultural operation as a farmer and I am earning income as a business net profit, that is going to be agricultural income. But if I let out that land to any farmer, and if he is using it for agricultural purpose, then whatever rent I will be receiving, that is also agricultural income. But if that farmer does not use it for agricultural purpose, use it for any other purpose other than agricultural, then that rent is not agricultural income for me. So even if rent is agricultural income, provided the tenant is using it for agricultural operations. So that's why the word rent has been included here. So rent or revenue derived from a land which is situated in India and used for agricultural purpose. Whether rent is received in monetary form or the farmer can give it to you in non-monetary form, that will still regarded as agricultural income. You can see the example. Share of agricultural produce received by a landlord is though in kind, but it is rent and thus agricultural income in the hands of landlord. Okay. Meaning of agricultural, you can go through this definition. Process ordinary employed to render the product fit to be taken to the market. So agricultural process just not including only harvesting or production of agricultural produce. even after production of agricultural produce, there are some activity which make that product to be marketable, like sorting, packaging, grading, drying, etc. So those activities is not 100% agricultural, but these are necessary to make that product marketable without changing its nature. So that activity is also regarded as agricultural activity. So if somebody asks you that only harvesting is agricultural activities, or after that the process of drying, sorting, packaging is also part of agricultural activity, income tax says yes. They also will be regarded as agricultural activity because it is mandatory to sell that product in the market. Sometime to make the agriculture produce a saleable commodity, it becomes necessary to perform some kind of process on the produce. The income from the process employed to render the product produce fit to be taken to the market would be agricultural income. However, this process ordinarily employed by the cultivator or receiver of rent in kind, and the process must be applied to make the produce fit to be taken to the market. Sale of agricultural produce in the market. Any income from the sale of any produce to the cultivator or receiver of rent in kind is agricultural income, provided it is from the land situated in India and used for agricultural purpose. However, if the produce is subject to any process other than process ordinarily employed. So if there is a ordinary process like sorting, grading, packaging, that would be regarded as agricultural process. But if there any other process which is other than the ordinary process, if any process which change the nature of that product, now that would be called as non-agricultural activities. Like if you are in a production of tea leaves, and after production of tea leaves, you convert it into normal tea, which we purchase from the market. So that process from tea leaves to make it a tea, or coffee beans converted into coffee powder, or sugar cane converted into sugar. So that kind of process would be regarded as non-agricultural activity. So for that purpose, we have separate provision. Those are called composite business. So composite business means having partly agricultural activities and partly non-agricultural activities. So the income also would be regarded as partly agricultural income and partly non-agricultural income. How it needs to be calculated, that we will see later in this chapter. The second point is income from farm building. So we have seen the first case. First case was there is a land, you are getting revenue, you are getting rent. In revenue case, we have seen the ordinary process would be regarded as agricultural activities. Other than ordinary process would be regarded as non-agricultural activities. Now, second is for farm building. Now we are talking about a farmhouse. The provision says if your farmhouse is situated on, if your farmhouse is fulfilling condition A, B, C, and D, what we are discussing over here, and if you are receiving any rent from this farmhouse, then it is also regarded as agricultural income. So in first point, we were discussing about the rent of land. Now we are discussing about the rent of building. So if that building fulfill these four conditions, then also that rental income would be regarded as your agricultural income. First is the building should be on the immediate vicinity of the agricultural land. Vicinity means boundary. So this building should be upon the agricultural land. First condition. All four conditions should be satisfied. Building should be utilized or occupied by the cultivator. This building needs to be utilized by the farmer or cultivator. The land is situated outside the urban area. The land on which this building has been constructed should be outside the urban area. That means it should be in rural area. So this agricultural land should be in rural area, not in urban area. The cultivator, the farmer should use that building as dwelling house or as a storehouse. So this house should be utilized for the purpose of dwelling house, that means residential purpose, or as a storehouse of agricultural produce. So if all these four conditions fulfill, in that situation, the rent income of that farm building will also be considered as agricultural income. Now, what is the meaning of urban area, rural area that has been specified over here? If there is any area, the population is 10,000 or more, the urban area and rural area has been defined as follows. It says if there is any municipality, there's a limit of municipality and the population is more than 10,000, the whole area would be regarded as urban area. So my farmhouse should not be here. It should be outside this area. And suppose the population is more than 10,000, but up to 1 lakh. Then after this limit of municipality, the next 2-kilometer area will also regarded as urban area. If the population is more than 10,000 but up to 1 lakh, then whatever is your municipality area, that is urban area automatically. And even within 2 kilometers from that municipal limit will also be regarded as urban area. So the farmhouse should not be here also. Now suppose, sorry for my drawing. Suppose now population is more than 1 lakh, but up to 10 lakh of that municipal area. Then the limit from this area up to 6 kilometers would be urban area. So that municipal area limit where ends from this point till this point, 6-kilometer area would be treated as urban area. And suppose if the population is more than 10 lakh rupees of that municipal area, if population is more than 10 lakh, then from this point till the 8-kilometer area would be regarded as urban area. So my farmhouse should be outside this 8-kilometer, then condition of urban land not situation would be fulfilled. So this is going to be explained over here with the help of example also. Multiple 9 cases has been given to make you understand in which situation that would be regarded as urban area or rural area. Clear? So first case was any land, rent or revenue would be agricultural income. Second case was farmhouse rent would be agricultural income. Third case is agricultural income from nursery operation. So there are nurseries, you must know, from where we can purchase plant, etc. Those income will also be regarded as agricultural income. Any income derived from sapling seed grown in a nursery shall be deemed to be agricultural income. Accordingly, irrespective of whether the basic operation have been carried out on land, such income will be treated as agricultural income, thus qualifying for exemption. So very simple. The fourth and the last types of agricultural income is for composite business. We have discussed it, composite business above also, that when you are doing any agricultural operation, including processing of agricultural produce so as to render it fit for market. So you produce something else, but now you are converted into some other product. That is called agricultural plus non-agricultural activities. Understood? Like sugar cane you produce, and now you are also process and converting that sugar cane into sugar, and you are going to sell sugar into the market. So those are called composite business, having agricultural activities as well as non-agricultural activities. These are for your homework part, the examples of agricultural income, non-agricultural income. Kindly go through with this theoretical part. some more example. Now, the most important part of this chapter is integration of agricultural income with non-agricultural income. So if you'll think about it, the majority population of our country reside in village area, and I believe you must know that the major industry of our country is agricultural operation base. Our country is on agricultural operation base. So technically, if we assume that 50 to 60% population lives in village area, and because agricultural income is exempt from tax, so that means a majority income of our country is technically exempted because we have the exemption of agricultural income. Now, government actually analyzed that there are two kinds of farmers. If you'll also think about from your point of view, you will agree with this, but there are two kinds of farmer. One's those farmer who is only having agricultural income. Those do not have any other income except agricultural income. And one category of farmers are those farmers, those are having agricultural income. Plus, they have purchased some buildings, some multiplex malls. They are having rental huge income also. They are doing other business also other than agricultural income. They are having interest, dividend, shares income also. So one category of farmers are those farmers. Those are only having agricultural income. And one category of those farmers having agricultural as well as other nature of income also. So government decided that we will not take tax from these kind of farmers. Those are only having agricultural income, but for those farmers, those are having agricultural as well as other income also. We will take a tax from those farmers also in a different way. And for that purpose, we have made a provisions of integration of agricultural income with non-agricultural income. So I'm just trying to make you understand the concept that this integration of agricultural income with non-agricultural income, what we are going to study, why it has been made, because for those farmers, those are not only earning agricultural income, but also involved in other kinds of income also. So the integration concept is applicable if you fulfill following conditions. There are certain conditions need to be fulfilled. And you will see these conditions for those farmers who are having agricultural and other than agricultural income. The condition number one is this is only applicable on individual, HUF, AOP, BOI, and AJP. Second condition, your agricultural income must exceed at least 5,000 rupees in a year per annum. And the third condition is your non-agricultural income, other than agricultural income, should exceed the basic exemption limit. That means if under optional tax regime, then it should exceed 2.5 lakh or 3 lakh or 5 lakh as the case may be. Under default tax regime, it should exceed at least 4 lakh rupees. So if all of these three conditions has been satisfied, all three conditions, then integration provision will apply. Understand? So if all three conditions has been fulfilled, then we have to calculate tax as per integration provision. And there is no new concept I am going to teach you. No new concept. Same provisions, same calculation of tax rate, but there are some new steps involved. No new calculation. How integration provision needs to be applied? It says step number one. Actually, there is some MCQ need to be asked by the Dhairy sir will join the session in some time. So we have to complete this session little fast. That's why I'm teaching quite provision rapidly. So if there is anything left or there would be any confusion, then I've told you we have a problem session on 1st of November. So I just need to complete the topic. So I'm just trying to make you understand the things clearly, but I'm not giving more example because we are short of time. So step number 1 for integration, it says calculate tax on agricultural plus non-agricultural income. Step number 1, you have to calculate tax. Tax need to be calculated as per normal provision. If it is optional tax regime, as per the slab rate, surcharge rates, everything is same, nothing is different. But suppose agricultural and non-agricultural income same, and calculate tax on both income together, assuming they all are taxable income. How it's need to be done, that I will solve with the help of an example. Step number 2. Step number 2 say also calculate tax on agricultural income plus the basic exemption limit applicable. Now take the agricultural income and basic exemption limit. Now calculate tax assuming this is my income. In first step, you have to calculate tax assuming this is my income. In step number 2, you have to calculate tax on agricultural income plus basic exemption limit. On this value, calculate normal tax, assuming this is my income. Now step number 3. Step number 2 minus step number 1. That would be my tax liability. If there is any rebate, that's need to be reduced after step number 3. Rebate and cess would not be applicable in step number 1 or 2. Step number 1 and 2, tax and surcharge only. If there is any rebate is applicable, that needs to be reduced after step number 3. And then you need to apply the cess, 4%. Now, for example, in the question, suppose agricultural income has been given 25 lakh and non-agricultural income has been given 20 lakh rupees in a question. This is a question of suppose individual who is a resident in India, 50-year age, and he wants to calculate tax under optional tax regime. So now you can see this example fulfill all the basic conditions which is applicable for integration purpose. This is a question of individual. Agricultural income exceeding 5,000, it is 25 lakh rupees. Non-agricultural exceeding the basic exemption limit. What should be the basic exemption limit in this example? That would be 2.5 lakh. So this is also exceeding. So all three conditions should be satisfied before applying integration provision. And if these three conditions has been fulfilled, then now we need to calculate tax as follows. So according to this, step number 1, what we need to do? Nothing. Just agricultural income and non-agricultural income. Total is 45 lakh. You do not need to worry about anything. Assume your income is 45 lakh rupees, that's it. And calculate tax accordingly. Assume your income is 45 lakh and you can calculate tax accordingly as per the slab rate. 2.5 lakh exempted, balance 2.5 lakh 5%, then 5 lakh is 20%. I will solve a lot of examples for this because we are short of time, so we are not able to solve these kind of example, but I will take all the examples in the problem solving section. Step number 2. So on how much income do I need to calculate tax in step number 2? Now tell me, in this example, on how much income I need to calculate tax as per normal provision. $25 lakh. She is saying no. Was that? Pooja? No, not correct answer. Yeah, Shireen is saying correct. 25 lakh plus 2 lakh 50,000. That means 27 lakh and 50,000 we have to take. 27 lakh 50,000 because we have to take agricultural income and the basic exemption limit. Do not get confused with it that we have to reduce the basic exemption limit again. No, just take this 27 lakh 5,000 now as your income and then calculate tax accordingly. Again, the same process. First 2.5 lakh is exempted, then 2.5 lakh 5% accordingly. And now step number 3. Step 2 minus step 1. Whatever the difference of these two taxes, that would be my tax. Would rebate be applicable? Rebate needs to be checked on the basis of non-agricultural income. So in this example, non-agricultural income is 20 lakh and rebate is applicable only if non-agricultural income is up to 5 lakh rupees. And because in this example, non-agricultural income is 20 lakh under optional tax regime, you can claim the rebate if non-agricultural income is up to 5 lakh. And because non-agricultural income in this example is exceeding 5 lakh, so there would not be any rebate. So what would be your tax? You need to apply 4% cess on it. And that would be your answer. Let me show you with the help of an example. Everything has been written in the notes with the help of example. And the practical question illustration we will solve on 1st of November in the problem session. But before that, you can see if all of the following conditions are satisfied, then integration will be applicable for only individuals, HUF, AOP, BOI, AJP. Agriculture income must exceed 5,000. Non-agricultural should exceed 4 lakh rupees under section 115 BAC, that means default tax regime. And for optional, it should exceed 250, 3 lakh or 5 lakh. If it happens, then step number 1 we have to follow. Computation of tax on total income, including agricultural income. Step number 2, computation of tax on agricultural income plus maximum amount not chargeable to tax. That means basic exemption limit. Accordingly, step number 3, tax liability. Step 1 minus step number 2, apply rebate and cess 4%. Step number 1, step number 2, tax calculation, you have to do without rebate under section 87A, 12,500 or 60. And rebate of 12,560 will be available after step 3. I've explained it to you. After step 1, step 2, whatever the remaining amount, on that amount you can provide the rebate depending upon your non-agricultural income. If your normal total income, that means your non-agricultural income is up to 5 lakh or 12 lakh rupees, then you can provide the rebate. I will solve the question related to this in the next class, of course. The last topic is determination of agricultural income in case of composite business. This is very easy. It will take only 5 or 3-4 minutes. Then we will hand over the session to Mr. Dhardev. So determination of agricultural income in case of composite business. So composite business was a business in which you are doing agricultural activities as well as non-agricultural activities. So now what would be the problem? The problem would be the net profit of that business. Suppose I am producing sugarcane. And after that sugarcane, I am processing it into sugar. And I am selling that sugar in market. So my trading and profit and loss account sale figure is related to sugar sale. And my net profit will combine the profit of both activities, the sugarcane and sugar both. So my profit combined the profit of both activities. Matlab, I have earned sugarcane, I have produced sugarcane. I could sold those sugarcane in the market and I can earn profit. And that would be my full agricultural income. But what I did, I produced sugarcane, then converted from those sugarcane sugar and sold it into the market. So whatever is the profit element I received, it is comprising both activities, agricultural activities like the production of sugarcane as well as the profit I earned by processing of those sugarcane into sugar. So in this situation, we have to bifurcate how much amount should correlate it to the sugarcane profit and how much amount needs to be connected with the sugar process. The amount which is connected with the agricultural activities going to be exempted as agricultural income. And the amount which is connected to non-agricultural activities going to be taxed. So we have specific rules for this. If you are doing a rubber business, rubber we explore or exploit from rubber plants, they are trees. So from that you got the natural rubber, and from that natural rubber maybe you are processing and producing some product or toys etc. and selling into the market. So if you are producing natural rubber and after that, after processing it, selling into the market via manufacturing other products, so again my profit would combine both activities. So we have a specific rule for it. Whatever would be the net profit from both activities, 35% would be regarded as non-agricultural and 65% would be regarded as agricultural activities. So this 65% is going to be exempted and this is going to be taxable. If you are in the business of coffee beans, then this profit need to be bifurcated, 25% non-agricultural, 75% agricultural. So this would be exempted, this would be taxable. Coffee roasted or tea, the rate is 40% taxable, 60% exempted. Other than these three business, any business, composite business, other than these three or four business, like sugarcane, we do not have any percentage. So for that purpose, point number 4 has been there. It could be sugarcane business, it could be juices business, could be cotton business, any other business except these three, having agricultural as well as non-agricultural activities. For those business, we have to calculate the agricultural and non-agricultural income separately. Market value of agricultural produce utilized will be deducted from the sale price of finished goods. So for these four business, we have a specific percentage, coffee beans, rubber and tea. So we can bifurcate it and find out how much is agricultural income, how much is non-agricultural. But for other than these business, we have to apply rule number 7. With example, let me tell you, suppose cost of cultivation of sugarcane is 10 lakh rupees. Processing cost is 15 lakh rupees. Sale of sugar is 50 lakh and FMV of sugarcane is 25 lakhs. So if there is any other business for which we do not have a specific percentage as above, in that case, you have to prepare two separate trading and profit and loss account to find out separate profit of agricultural activities and non-agricultural activities. In this example, agricultural activities and non-agricultural activities separate profit needs to be find out. Very simple provision. When you prepare or when you want to find out agricultural activities profit, Assume yourself as a farmer, 100% farmer. Assume that you just produced sugarcane and you sold those sugarcane in the market. That's it. And when you prepared a non-agricultural income calculation, assume yourself 100% businessman. That you did not produce sugarcane. You purchased sugarcane from the market, processed them, and converted into sugar and sold it into the market. Automatically, you would be able to solve these conditions. Like in this example, you will see if I need to find out agricultural income. So I am assuming myself as a farmer that my work is to produce sugarcane and sell those sugarcane in the market. So from the example, I just need to extract those information which is for farmer point of view is relevant. Cost of cultivation of sugarcane 10 lakh rupees. Of course, this would be my costing part. Cost of cultivation 10 lakh. Processing cost would not be the part of agricultural activities because this is from sugarcane to sugar processing. Sale of sugar, no, I did not sell the sugar. What I will sell? I will sell the sugarcane and the market value has been given. So this market value would be my sale price, 25 lakh. So technically my net profit would be 15 lakh and that is agricultural income. For the purpose of non-agricultural profit, now assume yourself as a pure businessman. You have to purchase sugarcane and you need to process it and you need to sell the sugar in the market. Now, if you are a businessman, then cost of cultivation is not relevant for me because I am not a farmer. Yes, processing cost would be the part of my expenditure. Sale of sugar would be the part of my sale. And I need to purchase the sugarcane. What I will process? I am not a farmer. I have to purchase sugarcane. So what is the fair market value in this profit or trading account would be automatically my purchase price. This is universal provision. Whatever would be the fair market value, this has been written over. As per this rule, this is explaining what would be the fair market value in the agricultural activity would become the purchase value in non-agricultural business. So my profit would be 10 lakh rupees. This is my non-agricultural income. Now a very, very interesting concept is coming in our view. If I'll ask you to calculate tax in this case, now you will see if it is a case of individual satisfying condition 1 of integration, my agricultural income in this question also exceeding 5,000 rupees and my non-agricultural income exceeding, suppose it's a case of optional tax regime, 2.5 lakh basic exemption limit. So if the examiner asks you for calculation of tax, generally what happens, we forgot about the integration concept. We think, okay, this is exempt, need to calculate tax on this. No. In this example also, you can see these three conditions has been fulfilled regarding the integration concept. Individual case, agriculture income 5,000 exceeding, non-agricultural exceeding 2.5 lakh rupees. So you have to calculate tax as per integration provision. How it will happen? The same way. Step 1, I have to calculate tax on agricultural plus non-agricultural. That means tax on 25 lakh rupees. Step 2, agricultural plus 2.5 lakh rupees exemption. Calculate tax on 17.5 lakh rupees. Step 3, 1 minus 2 would be your tax plus apply cess. Even for composite business, if those three conditions satisfied, then you have to calculate the tax as per integration provision. So that was agricultural income provision. We have covered it in a little bit hurry, but do not worry. We will discuss in detail with example, with illustration in our problem session class that would be on 1st of November. Let me see if there is any query relevant. Miss Meenu is asking, sir, if surcharge, then at place of rebate, we write surcharge. No, no. In case of integration, we have to calculate surcharge at the time of calculating tax only. I will solve that question. Don't worry, we will not wait till 1st of November. In the next session, before the second chapter we start, I will take some queries, some questions I will solve with you. So it would be really helpful for you to understand the concept in detail. Okay, so there is, sir. Are you here?
Yes, sir. Can we
So,
start now?
yes, yes, sure, sure.
Okay. So, student, you need to join that from that QR code, and you will be able to solve the MCQ after that.
There is a, do I need to again scan this also?
No, no, no. You are. You can see my screen now.
Okay, yes, yes, I can
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah. So can we start now or more students will join also?
I guess we can start.
Okay. So students, I am starting the MCQ. So the correct answer for this question is one second. Yes. Sale of agriculture produce after processing exceeding ordinary methods. So I'm going to for next MCQ.
Student, if you are facing any problem in MCQs, we can take this MCQ also in the next session. Do not worry. If you're not able to scan or there's any issue, do not worry. We will discuss these MCQ also in the problems solving session on 1st November or maybe in the next class. This question, actually, this topic we did not discuss it yet, I guess. This question is maybe student won't be able to answer. Yeah, actually, इसका detailed provision, तो इसीलिए we did not discuss that topic yet.
Oh, okay. But 32 have answered the correct answer.
Good.
Okay. So you can conclude.
Okay.
1 second. Okay, sir. You can continue.
Okay, thank you. So, student, there are some homework I am giving you. So you would be able to practice those questions. Second. Okay, so in the illustration number 5 from your study material, you have to try illustration number 5, page number 1.70. Illustration numbers, they are for marginal relief. Okay, and there are two methods has been given in the questions. One is a normal method and one is alternative method. So kindly solve with alternative method. The method I have taught is alternative method. That is easy. So that's why you have to solve the question with the help of alternative method. I hope it's clear. Illustration 1.71. Illustration 7. Illustration 8. Illustration 9 we have already solved in our question. That rebate questions was 9 and 10 illustration that we have already discussed. No, illustration 9 you try. Illustration 10 and 11 we have already solved in the notes. Then we have as an homework illustration number 12 for you. That's it. Those were the illustration. Test your knowledge question. Test your knowledge question we will discuss in problem session on 1st November 2025. And test knowledge plus the MCQ sheet question which I will provide you. These are going to be solved on 1st November 2025. More illustration for you. Illustration number 1. This is for agricultural income. The integration, non-integration part is there. Illustration number 2. Illustration 1 on page number 1.40 and 1.41. We have to solve it. Okay. Before ending the class, in case of marginal relief, I just want to clear one thing. In case of marginal relief, if total income is more than 50 lakh, then step 2, if you are confused in step number 2, then let me tell you, if total income is more than 50 lakh up to 1 crore, then step number 2 income would be 50 lakh you have to take in. For step number 2 only I am telling you, okay? If your total income is exceeding 1 crore up to 2 crore, Then step number 2 income you have to take 1 crore rupees. That is fixed. If it is more than 2 crore, up to 5 crore, then you have to take step number 2 income is 2 crore. In case of optional, I am telling you this. And if it is exceeding 5 crore, optional tax regime cases, I am telling you. And if it is exceeding 5 crore, then for step number 2, you have to take 5 crore rupees. Understand? I have made it simple for you, so you will not get confused. If my total income is this one, I have to take step number 2 income 50 lakh. If my total income is this one, I have to take step number 2 is 1 crore. If my total income is this one, I have to take step number 2 is 2 crore. And if my total income is exceeding 5 crore, I have to take that is 5 crore. If it is default tax regime, this will remain same, this will remain same, this will remain same. Because in case of default tax regime, exceeding 2 crore, then any limit, because surcharge rate is same. Exceeding 2 crore is 25% and exceeding 5 crore also. So there is no 5 crore concept we need to understand. If it is exceeding 2 crore, then you have to take step number 2, 2 crore. Now, whether it's more than 2 crore, 5 crore, 10 crore, step number 2 will remain 2 crore. This case is not applicable in case of default tax regime because 25% was the exact rate. So you have to go through with the provisions, the illustration I have asked you to solve. And now I was having a very nice story to tell you today, but we are short of time because already time has been exceeded. So the very, very interesting and beautiful story for next session, we will continue it. And Mohammed was asking, sir, these classes are applicable for September 26. Mohammed, maybe you did not join the first lecture in which Dimple ma'am has actually elaborated each and everything very clearly. So please go and watch the starting 10 or 15 minutes of first session. Your queries answers are there. Chapter 1 is over, yes, except some queries and questions and illustration. Chapter 1 is completed. Please revise it. Solve the question. Illustration I have asked you once or twice. If you revised and practice the question, you will find that tax calculation is easy part. So all the best. We will see each other on Tuesday, and that would be on 28th of October with our second chapter, residential status. And before that chapter, we can solve some queries related to chapter 1 also. Okay, students. So take care. Good day. Nisar.